Hey everyone, welcome to Mr. Geopolitics, and today we're going to be looking at the Ukraine map for July the 7th. The biggest news by far in the last 24 hours, in my opinion, is right here, Snake Island, the infamous Snake Island. I'll show you right now. Ukrainian flag returned to Snake Island. So the Ukrainians sent some troops there and they lifted the flag up on the island, as you can see. Big propaganda win for the Ukrainians. You could still see some Russian gear there that's been destroyed. The Z on the truck right here. Now from what I've heard, the Russians have already reacted to this, and they've struck the island with missiles again. So those troops are probably I would say the chances are they're probably toast. Wherever they were staying, they're probably long gone. Who knows, maybe the flag is still there, but I don't know, maybe it was worth it. Or maybe the flag's been destroyed as well. I don't know, but the Russians have struck at the island again. Anyways, there's that. And then if we look at the entirety of the map, we see a bunch of siren alerts. In the last few hours, the Russians are launching missiles at Ukrainian cities. It's a daily occurrence. And no, they are not running out of missiles. So the Russians are not running out of missiles. The Russians are also shelling the Ukrainian border. This right here says that Russian helicopters and artillery shelled Vovkivka, Miropilia, Kindrativka, and Esmen of Sumy region. Alright. So the Russians are constantly shelling. What happened here? Belgorod. Oh yeah, I believe last night 2 Russian Iskander missiles failed shortly after launch. You can see the video right here. This happened. This is not that rare of an occurrence. It happens sometimes with missiles, right? Sometimes missiles fail. I mean, that's why it's called rocket science. And you know, people say rocket science is not easy, right? Hopefully no one was hurt in this, but you can see it swirls around. I've seen this before. Some kids are drunk watching it probably. Anyways, that there. And then in the big picture, the Russians are continually shelling areas of interest, various flashpoints. They're shelling Kharkiv region. If we look near Izium, they're guarding their flank near Izium. Missile strike here would suggest Ukrainians maybe are sending some troops in the area. They want to outflank the Russians at Izium so they can't attack Sloviansk, but I think the Russians are on guard. So from what we're hearing, the Russians are taking an operational pause. They're regrouping now, which is not that surprising since they did take a lot of territory in the last 2 weeks. They took They took the twin sister cities of Severodonetsk and Lysychansk. So Severodonetsk fell, and then right after, the Russians went from the south, and Lysychansk just crumbled within a week after. So that was a major setback for the Ukrainians. And the Russians are just consolidating the territory they've taken. The troops are resting, putting new bullets in the cartridges, you know, just making sure everything's maintained, everything's ready to go, everyone's well rested, tires are changed, you know, everything has to be ready to go on another offensive, right? This is another area of interest, Seversk. Kramatorsk was struck last night. Siren alerts 3 hours ago. Kramatorsk was struck, 9 hours ago. 1 person killed, 6 wounded. Yeah, I mean, the Russians are just doing what I kind of thought they would do. When it comes to this area, this is what it's all going to come down to, Kramatorsk. If the Russians take Kramatorsk, the battle for the Donbass is pretty much over, right? It's pretty much a done deal. Now, in order to do this, it's not going to be easy for the Russians because there's no more easy option for the Russians. Sloviansk, if they go for Sloviansk, they have to go down this road. You can see these forests near this road, the M103, and forests are just a defender's dream come true. You can hide in forests, you can ambush forces that are going driving by roads near forests, and this is a huge forest. From either side you could ambush Russian forces as they come down this road. It's the main road leading to Sloviansk. So there's a little town right here too, Maiki. I thought it was Malaki, but Mikey. Anyways, yeah, the Russians, if they want to take Sloviansk, one thing they're going to have to do is they're going to have to take these forests. At this point in the game, the Russians know that any forest is basically filled with Ukrainian defenders, ambush squads, snipers, you name it. So the amount of artillery the Russians are using, they're just going to pound these forests with artillery. You already see they've started doing this. They're just going to annihilate any forces in these forests. They're just going to hit these forests with so much artillery that any forces there are going to be overwhelmed or destroyed. Then you can send special forces in. You can send forces that are used to fighting in forests, have trained to fight in forest, to go in there. I mean, look, all these little towns, right? All these little village sites. I wouldn't even call them towns. Little by roads, right? Off roads. The Russians are going to have to take this area, and it's actually a good idea to go down this route because, see, the Russians, if they go down this forest, they go down this route, they can cut off this road. And this road is going to connect Sloviansk and Kramatorsk to Kharkiv. And Kharkiv is a city of 1.5 million, so that is a major objective. They have to do that. They have to. It's not just about going down this road. They have to secure all the areas near the road. As you can see, there's a little river running down here. They have to secure both areas down, running down the river, right? So they're going to have to go down here. They're going to go down the main road for certain, but they also have to go down this forest, secure this area right here. After they secure this area, some forces can safely cross. As you can see, there's a river running along here, the Severodonets River, I believe it's called, something like that. Severodonets River. So none of these forces can really cross safely right now across this river. I mean, the Ukrainians can ambush them still. A few weeks ago, about a month ago, that happened at Rubizne, and a lot of Russian forces were destroyed there. And since then, I think the Russians really learned their lesson because right here, Rubizne. So since then, the Russians really learned their lesson because it was pretty devastating when they tried to cross. They lost dozens of tanks. The Ukrainians used, they ambushed them with artillery and ATGMs and everything. But anyways, yeah, I mean, look, the Russians are going to have to secure their flanks. They're going to have to go down this road. The issue with Sloviansk and this general area is that you could see, like, Sloviansk it's reinforced by Kramatorsk. If they go for Bakhmut, it's reinforced by Kramatorsk. Seversk, again, all these areas kind of reinforce each other, right? So from Kramatorsk here, from Kramatorsk to Bakhmut, and then up to Seversk, down this road, from this road to here, right? So this is almost like the Ukrainians have had a long time to fortify these areas. There's no easy option for the Russians, honestly. But here's the thing. If I were to do it, I would say they should go for Seversk first. Why? Because if they go for Seversk, if they take Seversk, then they will be facing the M103, and it's going to be a flat front. The front is going to be flattened, right? They're going to be facing the road parallel, right? Whereas here there's a bulge, and that presents a problem, but it also presents an opportunity, because whenever there's a bulge, and especially if there's a bulge within a bulge, as you can see here with Bilohorivka, and some people say that, some people are saying that Bilohorivka is actually, that it's a mistake, that the Ukrainians have not taken it back, but this map is sticking to its guns, so let's assume it's true. But you know what, there's another Bilohorivka, but here's the thing. It's not good to have a bulge within a bulge within a bulge, because it's kind of like it just sticks out too much, and then if you cut it off from a cutoff point, I mean, the whole bulge will collapse. All those troops will be basically stuck. And then they're gonna have to move from the end of that bulge back, and it's they can get encircled. If the Russians want to take Seversk and they want to avoid a frontal assault, what they're gonna have to do is they're really gonna have to focus on Spirne. They've already taken the areas here, but they have to take Spirne. Why do I say that? Because look carefully. They're going to take Spirne, right? Ivano-Darivka, Viemka, move on to Zanivka, move on to Viato, Pakrovsky. By going down these little towns and reinforcing their positions, the Russians, in essence, and maybe they want to take some of these, by reinforcing their these positions here, by building a kind of a salient, a bulge here, the Ukrainians are going to start to become afraid. They're going to become afraid of Seversk getting cut off, just like Lachansk and Severodonetsk were cut off eventually. They're going to be afraid of encirclement, because eventually what is this going to lead to? It's going to lead to encirclement, right? I mean, that's the easy way they can take Seversk, right? I mean, let me show you another way. The Russians just want to kind of create a bulge here, and they want to reinforce this with defensive lines, and then they want to kind of just make this into, into a do or die situation for the Ukrainians. So they'll have pretty much no choice but to abandon Seversk. They're going to have no choice but to, they're going to be this, you don't want to end up like this. So they're going to have to abandon this area, and they're going to have to abandon Seversk. So the Russians can take Seversk without a full frontal assault. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it can be done. That can be done, right? And then what's going to be important is for the Russians to go on these outskirts right here. These outskirts areas are going to be very important. And I'll tell you why in a second. It's just rough drawing, but look. They want to go for these areas, right? And then at the same time, like I said before, the Russians want to take the entire area, all these little towns, all these areas by the M103, right? They want to secure that airport up here. They want to secure all these areas, and then by securing these areas just by the M103, they are going to connect. Look what they've done. They've connected to Seversk. Their forces have connected to Seversk. So now Russian troops all along the river, Severodonetsk River, can cross pretty much a lot more safely, right? Let's say they've taken the entire road by Sloviansk. So they haven't entered Sloviansk. They didn't enter Seversk, really. They just threatened to encircle it, and the Ukrainians left, and they took Seversk. Now they're outside Sloviansk, and they're outside Kramatorsk, okay? Now going inside these city centers of full frontal assault, house by house, is going to be hard. But what the Russians can do is this, right? The Russians can now focus on what they can... Oh, oops, sorry. Okay, let's just end this here. So they can focus on New York. And you see they've already built a little bulge here. So all these areas at the south. See all these little towns leading up to Kramatorsk? It's very important because what they can do is take these little towns, right? Take these little towns little by little, right? And you can see Bakhmut there. I mean, that's going to be hard to take. But they can essentially take all these little towns outside Bakhmut and the areas outside Sloviansk and Kramatorsk, right? Eventually, Bakhmut is a fortress, right? But eventually, the Russian troops from the north, they're going to want to come down south, right? So they're going to want to come down. Let's say they don't even take Soledar, but they take, just some areas nearby. So now they're building up their bulge to the south and the north. And again, they haven't taken Bakhmut, but they're just, eventually they're going to cut off the M103 from there. And you see what's happening here as they expand without taking any major settlements, just these little settlements. But as they come down, taking these little settlements, and as they go up, south to north, taking these little settlements, they're going to surround Bakhmut, right, eventually. Right? So the same way that the Russians can take Seversk is the same way they could take Bakhmut. Once this happens, Bakhmut's finished. Right? You cut off the road, it's finished. There goes Bakhmut. Right? And then what they're going to want to do is focus on this road. Of course the Ukrainians are going to fight them tooth and nail, but look, the Russians, this is the easiest way for them. Right? Right? So now, look, they're encircled. Those troops are encircled. And when you're encircled, it's just a matter of time, right? It's just a matter. I'm not saying the Ukrainians are not going to try to break through, but once this happens, and once the Russians start building towards this bulge with more artillery, and they take the road, and it's just, this is the beauty of encirclement, right? This is why so many, the most brilliant armies, the most powerful armies, always want to use encirclement. You always want to surround the enemy, because think about it. This is just theory, right? But you can see that without taking any major settlements, the Russians can take Seversk, right? And just look, the Russians already, look at all the artillery. And it's all the Russians, right? All these clusters, it's all the Russians, right? I mean, okay, sure, the Ukrainians are fighting back. Yeah, of course they are, right? I'll show you. Yeah, the Ukrainians are fighting back. Look at this. Right? So they've been really striking at Donetsk, right? And of course, so the Ukrainians are shelling back, fighting back, but is it enough? Well, in terms of artillery, the Ukrainians are outnumbered 10-1 or 20-1. So I don't think it's going to be enough, and the Russians are not getting distracted. They're focusing on the areas that count. See, they're trying. See, no, look at all this shelling. See any shelling on Seversk itself? No. It's all of the areas, the hinterlands, the areas outside Seversk, right? All the areas of interest, right? See, imagine the Russians take all this, right? Take this and this and this. Well, what have you done? You've basically encircled them, right? They're softening up the areas they want to take. And the areas the Russians want to take are the areas that will lead to an encirclement, right? And that's basically it. I mean, that's, you know, the only question now is how quickly can the Russians impose their will? How quickly can they take Seversk and then be parallel to the M103? How quickly can they move on to the M103, surround Bakhmut? How quickly can they take New York, go up and surround Bakhmut, take Bakhmut? Taking Bakhmut is going to be a major blow. Then if they can come down and surround Sloviansk, cut off these roads, again, they don't have to go into these cities and fight house by house. It will come down to that probably, but they can make a lot of Ukrainians flee just by surrounding these larger cities like Kramatorsk. I think that's what the Russians are planning. It just makes sense. Going on frontal assaults, I mean, it's not the most intelligent way forward, right? I mean, anyways, the only question is, will they be able to do this before the winter? If the winter comes, will the Russians go on a winter offensive? And then if they take this entire area, if they take the Donetsk area, the Donbass area, then since their troops are already in this area, will they focus on surrounding Kharkiv, the second largest city in Ukraine? Or will they move on to Mykolaiv, where they're doing a lot of shelling as well? And from Mykolaiv, will they move down to merge with Transnistria, which is a breakaway enclave of Moldova, which is pro-Russian? So will the Russians try to do something like this, thereby cutting off Odessa, so it'll be only a matter of time, and connecting to the troops here, which means that basically, you know, the 4,000 to 6,000 Russian peacekeeping troops here can help them go on the offensive for Odessa. Yeah, I think the Russians are a lot smarter than people give them credit for. You know, a lot of people in the West say in the beginning, they were saying, oh, the Russians are incompetent, this, that, but, you know, since they've reorganized, since they've abandoned taking Kiev and whatnot, they've done pretty well. And they've, you know, some people will say, oh, they're taking so long, their gains are incremental. Listen, wars go on for years. For example, the war in Yemen, the Saudis went to war in Yemen, right? How long has that lasted? I mean, the war in Yemen against a bunch of ragtag rebels, the Houthi rebels being supplied by Iran, right? That's lasted about, that war has lasted about 7 years. And they're pretty much at an undeclared peace treaty right now, but yeah, I mean, look, this war has lasted 7 years, right? And the Saudis, who have one of the largest military budgets in the world, I'm pretty sure they are top 10. 7 years they couldn't beat these rebels with air superiority and everything. You know, the American way, air supremacy, whatever, whatnot, all that. You know, and the best American air defense technology, even the PAC-3 Patriot, could not fully defend the Saudis from the onslaught of Iranian supplied drones. If you remember, at one point, the Houthis launched drones at the Saudi oil facilities, Amram oil facilities, and they destroyed half of the Saudis' oil reserves at one point. So 7 years this has gone on. Okay, in 4 months, the Russians, I mean, sure, they had setbacks at first, but since then, and even then, even during the times when they had setbacks at Kiev, in the south, they went from Crimea north, established a bridgehead to the other areas of the Donbass they controlled, highlighted in dark red, and they kept taking territory. So the Russians, I mean, it's been 4 months, and they're constantly taking territory. They're constantly on the offensive, and they have a plan. And yeah, they're using a lot of artillery, but guess what? The Ukrainians have lost most of their heavy weapons at this point. Mostly what the Russians are dealing with right now is infantry. Infantry with ATGMs, sniper rifles, whatnot, right? So the best way to take out infantry, ask anyone in the military, the most cost efficient, the most effective way is artillery. Artillery is the anti-infantry. Okay, guys? Anyways, I've been blabbing on for quite a while now, so that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you, guys.